Could you unmute your microphone? Could you take your hat off, please? All right. A Pizza Hut employee. I can, it's not up to you, you stupid bitch. In front of a police officer. Smoke. Stop eating. Well, wait.
All rise, order in the court.
Wow, Lambo red twice in one day. What do we do to deserve this good luck? Oh, logo poked up out of nowhere.
I found it. Tiny Piggy, thank you. Hallelujah. Howdy. Happy Friday.
Oh, is it not the happiest of Fridays? I have not looked forward to the weekend more than I don't know when. For some reason, this has just been one hell of a week.
One of them weeks.
Glad it's almost over, but not before we have an amazing. We got a chase today. Paisley, good to see you. Too sweet. And Creed, I've just gotten word it will be. We got a mystery, members only.
Yes,
on the main channel tonight. So
love that. That's been a while.
Maggart.
Whoa, easy does it, Judge Middleton.
Gosh, Judge Middleton.
Middleton's coming in hot today.
Deborah, you got other things to deal with. I'll let you all go.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice. Judge Middleton talking right to you, Deborah. Isn't that crazy?
Debbie.
Or Debbie, whichever. That's fine.
Well, he feels like he knows Deborah good enough to call her Debbie.
Yes. Love that. So what? So you gave us a little bit. We had a live chase for those of you who were not with us, like me. I missed the whole thing. But at the end of it, got a little tease of what we're watching today.
Yeah. So the first thing we'll see is your standard TPO with a gentleman who brings in a support human with him, which is kind of different, but we have a young lady that's worried about her safety. And we'll hear about some mental issues and things like that as we go through it.
All right.
And then we'll start hearing a case, but we won't finish it because, well, there's a, a lot of sex at the end of it because somebody, what do they call that? A raid or whatever?
I believe so. That's what the youngins call it.
A hacker had joined. So you'll see this courtroom be taken over by a lot of man-on-man sex.
Well, you're not going to see
you're
that.
Not going to see it though.
But
thank God we've blurred it out for you. And it took, I'm not going to lie, Creed, some of these things were so big. It took like 4 or 5 blurring screens to take it all out.
I saw the
well-endowed gentlemen practicing on themselves and each other.
Yeah.
Oh boy,
very disturbing. A lot of people had asked, like, they want to see the
uncut.
I'm telling you guys,
you don't. I'm telling you, you don't. I'm doing you a favor by not putting it up anywhere.
Seriously. The guy from the chase, the guy didn't have any pants on, Carol?
Carol.
Look at you.
Of course you would notice that.
The hell did you notice that? Did you get a new TV or a new glass?
She must have like an 85-inch.
I got a fairly large screen in front of me. I didn't notice that. I love it, though. I mean, I listen, getting into a chase and being pantsless ain't nothing wrong with that.
No, that's a pro move if I've ever heard it.
Mayor just calls that a Tuesday. Not for talking about the kissing brothers. My God, it's disgusting. I think that's why Mikey's very disturbed about that and the fact that Lil Tay is still alive.
So have you watched Charlie's video about Little Tay?
Yeah, it gave us a very good idea about the fact that it all has to do with crypto. He was very good about not really.
He really felt like it wasn't that, but he says it's a possibility.
I think he felt that because it's so crazy to go that far out there to get some attention.
Did you find it weird like I did? I felt like this was because I actually, when I was watching the video, I yelled out that oh my God, what a missed opportunity, because they called it Little Tay tokens.
Right.
And I scream out and I look over to my wife. I was like, what a huge missed opportunity. They should have called them Tesos. I mean, how stupid can you be?
God,
Tesos.
yes. That would have been perfect.
Tesos.
That would have been perfect.
Like that. That's perfect too.
That's 10 pesos. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Tokens.
Lucy, no. Is that
Zoom
like
crashers.
compilations of people doing that?
Do they put a bunch of just like homoerotic stuff up? Because that's all this was.
Well, that one was, that was a little extra, but I'm sure I mean, if it's like different people, just I'll look it up, Lucy. I didn't even know that existed. I like that genre
Zoom
of things.
crashers.
That would be fun to watch. Anyways, so sorry we're late. That's why. Leather and Lashes, great to see you. Happy Friday.
I hope your coccyx is doing better.
Don't you have a date tonight? Or
You broke a coccyx.
What is a coccyx? Is it a thing?
Yeah. It's your tailbone, brother.
Oh, really?
By the way, my mom broke hers giving birth to my big-headed brother. True story.
Toby, 2 months a member. Yeah, don't forget on the main channel, by the way, at 5:30 East. Again, we got a mystery, which I'm looking forward to. I bruised my tailbone once snowboarding, and I couldn't put socks on myself for months. That was bad.
Holy crap.
Yeah, no, that was bad. Michael, 2 bones. A couple of Tay tokens. I'm sure they
Tesos. I'm telling you, Tesos.
I think you're absolutely right. The money is it's just raining money. MB, thank you, $5. You're making it a very happy freaking Friday.
If you guys also missed the end of that chase, you can go back and hear me name drop somebody that I think is trying to troll our channel and as a scumbag.
You don't have to name drop on here because that was kind of funny. But so Mikey told a story which I find amusing.
I'm recording court. I just sitting in Judge Simpson's chat. I'd said, hey, like 30 minutes earlier. Then some random person out of nowhere just comes into the chat. No one has said anything. You were there. You back me up. And just says out of nowhere how, Credence and Mikey, they're so corny. And those sound effects, just terrible.
I mean,
just out of nowhere.
If you're a real troll, then yes. That's just so random just to bring that up.
And immediately I seen it come up, and then I went right under it, and I was like, you're breaking my heart.
You didn't put like in all caps, you got served.
No, I didn't. I should have, but
not naming any names, but if we were being trolled by a certain person, that is pretty much how they would handle it. Like
so stupid and sloppy work.
Kind of obvious.
Bush League.
Not sloppy work like Gary though. 2 votes. Thank you.
They also seem to think that all of our streams are like our live streams. They're not. We also put up videos all throughout the day that don't have our beautiful faces or voices on it. Subpar, but that's all right. They're still there.
They may be subpar, but that's good for us.
Still there.
$5 Friday. Let's make that a thing. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
In Leather and Lashes, who did you send a picture of your ass to?
Oh God,
I'm never on the good side of these things. All right, let's jump into court. Let's do this. It's time. No more funny business.
Is Nicole here? Nicole Grant?
Put your straight face on and don't be playing any sound effects. Nicole Grant in a very dark room at the moment.
Turn the light on. There she goes.
Good morning, Your Honor. Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning. And Mr. Lemger, can you turn on your camera and microphone, please?
Yeah, I'm more jealous than anything.
How do I do that?
I don't know how to do that.
I can hear you, Mr. Lemger. All This is case, there we go, 23-179. Okay,
no.
so we were here previously
would.
on July 10th, and Mr. Lovinger had requested a continuance because he'd only recently been served. But now it's been an extra 2
Oh, he
weeks,
said it.
so
Did you hear that?
we're going to go
He
ahead
said it.
and
He said it.
conduct the hearing and to make a decision as to whether this temporary order that was previously granted will be extended.
I'm writing that down.
Okay, Ms. Grant, you're the petitioner in this case, and this will go for everybody whose case goes for a hearing today. After I swear the parties in, the petitioner will go first. I'll
By
hear
the way,
from you,
Stephen?
any testimony that you have to give.
He just
any
finished an
evidence you
audition for Blue
present,
Man
any
Group.
witnesses you may have.
Didn't have time.
After I've heard from the petitioner,
Corny.
then it'll be the respondent's turn, in this case, Mr. Lovinger. Same thing, I'll hear any testimony you have, any exhibits that you want me
Oh,
to
thank you.
review, and any witnesses you may have with you. After I've heard from both of you, I'll make a decision. Is the order going to be granted or not, or something else?
Something else.
So
Something
please
else?
let the
Okay.
other party
I didn't know there was a
tell
something
their
else.
side of it.
It's a Freaky Friday. You never know what you're going to get in court today with district
It's
court.
going to be
judges.
granted, denied, or something else.
Okay, don't interrupt the other party when they're telling
Sorry.
their side of it.
Sorry, Jesus. You're just telling. All right, I'll pause it then. Amy P., thank you. Your favorite. Are you sure about that? I don't know if I believe you, Amy. I don't know if I believe you. Amazon girl, 3 hallelujahs for 3 months.
I
Thank you.
thought you had died on that jet ski with little Tay.
And her
Where
brother.
have you been?
He said it. The judge said it.
He
Keep
did
in
say-
mind that you either will get your turn to tell me your side, or you just did, and I already know your side. So both of you need to let the other do
Wow, we are. You guys are killing it today. Amazon girl, 10 gifted memberships. You guys are the best.
that uninterrupted.
And I love it. Speaking of interruptions, I love it because it pisses people off.
Okay, so can Ms. Grant, Mr. Lovinger, can I have you both raise your right hands, please? And do both of you swear that the testimony you give in this case will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, Your Honor.
I don't.
I do.
Okay, very good. All right, and keep in mind that any material that you've submitted previously as part of this case is already part of the record, and I have reviewed it.
Yeah.
All right, Ms. Grant, go ahead.
Your Honor, can I say something really quick?
Yeah, please do, Joe.
Who
It's just, sorry,
who are you?
my
Who
name
are
is Nolan
you?
Stevens' brother. I'm just here
Oh,
to
that's Joel and Karen. Karen G, thank you so much for the $5. These corny idiots keep it up.
We typically don't get a guy, like I said, out of nowhere, but I did mention there was a support person. And Steven, he's going through some stuff right now. So his brother Joel has showed up to help him out.
What a nice guy he is.
kind of, my mom asked me to call in to just help him if he needs any help.
And my mom,
This kind of
He's my
support
love.
person?
Yeah, basically.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Just, you can be there with him. There's
nice
no
being
problem with
top,
that.
bro.
Okay, and then for people who are not testifying or their case is not being heard right at the moment, make sure your microphone is muted. Okay, Ms. Grant, go ahead.
It's a little.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. So basically this started on May 23rd when Stephen, I live in an ADU, additional unit, dwelling unit behind the main house.
ADU?
What happened?
Addition?
And lives basically like kitty corner across the street from the main home. And Stephen
That your house being robbed, or is that somebody here? I heard a dog.
I don't know what you're talking about.
across the street and acts
Somebody's getting a small ginger ale delivered to the house, probably.
Already in a cup.
Presto.
access to my home from a gravel path that walks along the main house and comes back to my back in my house, which is actually accessed through the alley. So I can't see Stephen's property from my house or anything like that. This November, I will have lived at this property for 3 years with my minor child. And in the almost 3 years I've lived here, I've never encountered Stephen, never seen him, never met him. May 23rd, he came and knocked on my door. I'm a social worker. I work with unhoused families experiencing mental illness and homelessness in King County. So I work from home. So he came and knocked on my door on May 23rd, asking for a woman named Rachel. I said, no one lived here by that name.
Rachel,
He was
Terminator?
not really willing.
Yeah, she's be thinking about Rachel today. She's got a pretty
serious procedure she's having done.
Yeah.
So
keep that in mind. And that is very nice of Nicole to not only remind us, but also
shout her out. Yeah, quick shout out.
Yeah. Stephen really looks bad. I
don't know how he's got so blue.
I'm blue.
Willing to leave. Kind of just stood at my door and stared at me. I said, there is no one by that name. I have lived here for years. You're at the wrong place.
Double up.
He kind of sauntered around my property, wouldn't leave, came back and said, what about somebody named Avery?
Paige just sauntered on in and said,
sauntering in, it's allowed. I like that she come up with sauntering. I mean, of all the things she could have said, lurking or just hanging about, she went with sauntering. And I would love to see Stephen saunter personally. That's just me. Maybe even with Paige and Stephen saunter.
Saunter.
I said, no one lives here by that name. You now need to leave my property. Slowly, he kind of sauntered down the alley. And as I reported it to other neighbors,
Saunter.
I shared it on the Ring neighborhood camera because they have indoor Ring cameras. Since then, I have mounted an outdoor doorbell camera. But at the time, I only had the indoor cameras. I shared it with my neighbors in wanting to keep the neighborhood safe. Unbeknownst to me, it was the neighbor at the end of the alley that said, I believe I recognize him. He has some mental illness and lives with his mother across the street from me. He is harmless, but a bit discombobulated. I said, you need to tell his mother.
We should have made this a drinking game. It is Friday and all.
She is breaking up the lexicon of words on us today.
Yeah.
She is
making
definitely.
Us just sounds stupid, you know?
Yeah, I will say that. Mental illness. Well, before we get into any more of these corny jokes, mental illness, not a joke. That is a very serious thing and should be taken serious. If you suffer from that or you know somebody does, make sure you seek professional help because it's nothing to play with.
To come get him because he is scaring people in the neighborhood. At that time, that neighbor said, unfortunately, she has been going through chemo. She cannot get out of the house. He came and knocked on my door just yesterday at 5 a.m. and then he quickly walked away. I got up and went over to his house where he was just sitting on the porch and asked what he wanted. He said nothing. He was just bored. I think he is off of his medication, so he gets pretty confused. I spoke with other neighbors living on my block, has concerns for safety and to be aware that this might be true. So a neighbor, Virginia Sorrell, said, wrote a letter, which I will provide to the court. I just have not been able to do so. It's short, so I'll read it quickly. She said, my name is Virginia Sorrells. I live across the street from the Lovengers at 1604 8th Avenue. A month or so ago, I encountered Linda Lovenger standing outside her house. She seemed distraught and told me that she thought her son, Stephen Lovenger, was having some kind of break. He had stopped taking his medication and was convinced that some friends from college were about to arrive, which according to Linda was not the case. That day, Stephen was walking around the neighborhood, apparently for someone or something. Linda appeared to be in rather frail health. She told me she was undergoing chemo.
Lil Linda, was that?
All right. So again, Stephen may be having some issues. Maybe he stopped taking his medications and whatnot, but that is still no excuse for frightening people around the neighborhood. Because he's obviously somebody who's been to college. He's waiting for college friends to show up, allegedly.
I don't know why.
A lot of allowing these read-in letters, by the way. I'm very shocked by that. We don't typically allow those things.
That's what I was thinking, Kirkley. It's going to be stuck in my head all day, like the vivid sexual things I saw during live court.
Therapy, and a friend was driving her to appointments. She said she had another son that lived and worked in Seattle. So that was the end of her statement. Then, Your Honor, June 15th, I was, again, sitting here at my desk working from home, and I was eating my lunch. I picked up my napkin to wipe my mouth, looked over, and saw Stephen standing at my living room window looking inside of my home. So at that point, I did not open the door. I opened the window and said, I have already told you you are trespassing and you are not to be on my property, and I'm calling the police. He went to leave, again, accessing my house from the path that goes along the main house, waited several minutes, went outside, and the neighbor, who also works from home at times in the main house, the other renter, looked down the back window, heard me yelling at Stephen to get off the property. He then came out, and Stephen was just standing on the sidewalk in front of their home, and he would not leave our shared property. The neighbor said, you need to leave. You should not be coming over here. You have no reason to be on my property nor her property, which we share. You need to go, and you have to stop coming over here. And he said, I just live right over there. And we said, then you need to go home and you need to stop coming over here. I called Olympia Police Department and asked them to come to my home to speak with me, as well as Stephen and his mother, because I know he lives with his mother, as previously mentioned, Linda Lovinger.
Shocker.
OPD said they would arrive shortly. And that was at 12:05 p.m. on June 15th. About an hour later, I got a call from an officer that said they would not be able to come to my home because they were responding to an incident across town. I live in West Olympia, right? So they were responding to an incident across town in East Olympia where Stephen had followed a 15-year-old girl off of a bus, followed her to her home, told her father that he was in love with her, wanted to marry her, and refused to leave their property until he received a sign from God.
Oh, Stephen.
Whoa.
God.
Whoa.
It's Stephanie, thank you for the 5 bones. We're the reasons you can't have nice things.
Whoa. I was not. Okay. So again, that one, just because he's, has issues, that's no excuse for this kind of behavior, though. This is like that's really bad stuff there.
Look at his brother's face in disgust along with us on that one. And to walk up to the father and say, I'm in love with your 15-year-old daughter.
That's a bad move, Stephen.
But that, Tiny Piggy, that's a good move. Thank you.
Damn,
So
Stephen.
From there, Stephen was committed to a mental health institution. And I was given that information by Olympia Police Department as they tried to serve him, and his mother explained that. So over the course of 3 weeks, I worked with the Olympia Police Department, the Centralia Police Department, and the Thurston County, Sheriff's Office in attempts, and also Joel Levinger, Stephen's brother, and Dan Levinger, in order to try to have him served in different facilities with no luck. So I paid someone, my friend, to drive from Briar, Washington, down here, 68 miles to my home, because I don't have anybody in Olympia that I know. The only people that I know are people.
I would have went one more mile. I would have one more mile.
Maybe she's not into that.
Maybe not.
People who were witnesses in this case being my neighbors. Her to drive down here to serve him because he was not released until Friday. If you'll remember, when I came to court last time, it was Monday and you said it was too soon because he was just served the Friday before, because that was the first day he got out of the mental health institution. So he was served, and then we came to court.
I understand those sequence of events, and you outline those here in your written petition, which, as I said, is part of the record and so forth. So in response to I believe it was the June 15th incident, you called the police department in Olympia. So as a result of the behavior that you're describing here, how do you feel about the fact that these events occurred, and what have you done in response to those things?
So I have, I feel.
Did you see that thing? It's like 2 foot long, whatever it is. At least it's not like that adult sippy cup we saw the other day. That was disturbing, to say the least.
Is that an Instapot over there on Joel's counter?
It is. That's what I said. Nice Instapot, bro. Heck yeah.
Humble brag.
Yeah,
Humble
he's
brag.
in that group with Roger where they all share recipes on Facebook together. It's Roger's in a lot of women's groups for cooking and recipes with crock pots, and
As he should be. What a great way to work your way in with women folk.
that's a good point.
Scared. I feel very
And they apparently know how to cook, and they own Instapots.
scared. I have worked with people with mental illness for the last 10 years. So I have a very, very strong knowledge of how people act when they go off their medications and how
Knowledge.
people can escalate with psychosis and how they can become more physically dangerous over time. So I do not feel safe. I do not feel comfortable letting my 8-year-old child play in our yard. He's home for the summer. So as a result, I have informed other neighbors just to be on the safe side. And not only that, but to support Stephen in, being healthy and living successfully. So if they notice things that are, out of the norm, or it seems like he might be struggling, please, try to advocate. And because I want him to get the help he needs. Right. So like I said,
Just
I
not
had
at my house.
a neighbor helped me mount a doorbell camera outside, which I did not previously have. So I no longer have to open the door to respond to someone previously.
So like my neighbor, what they did is they took this camera and they peeled off this little plastic piece on the back, and it went just like this.
Yeah. Next door neighbor is a civil engineer. So I had him come in and install a state-of-the-art Ring camera
Yes.
on the outside of my home, Beverly. Good to see you.
Listen, you guys are giving a lot of crap to Nicole. She's got her shit together, though.
She does.
However, though, the hearsay thing is kind of crazy.
Tons of it.
Many of you in the chat have certainly called that out. I'm not sure why he hasn't said any of that, but I'm going to go on this. Remember in the beginning, I was probably talking over him, but he did say that, they submitted some evidence and he's went through it and saw it already. So there may be some stuff that he's seen that lends credence to all that. You see what I did there? I used
But it sound weird if you said it lends Mikey to it. So I mean, yeah, of course.
It doesn't work that way.
Doesn't work at all. But Judge is disturbed by the blue hue on Steven. Look at him looking over him like, oh my God.
We were disturbed from him before we even heard about him following a 15-year-old home.
God.
I don't know who that is, so I can't.
Any relation to Joe Walsh? I know him.
Rocky Mountain Way. Is that
maybe?
I only had indoor cameras. So I have done things to beef up the security of my home to make myself and my child feel safer.
And my next question you already answered was how old your child was. And it's just the two of you live in the residence, you and your child who's 8?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. I understand the nature of your claim here. I'm familiar with it because I had an opportunity.
Crass, if you're here, please get up with Marky. He'll teach you how to get a job. Crass, Marky.
Opportunity to review it previously when we were here 2 weeks ago. So, Mr. Levenger, now that you've had an opportunity to read the petition that Ms. Grant filed and hear what she's had to say here today, it's your turn to tell me your side of it.
Here we go.
I was under stress from my mom having chemo, and I was in denial about my bipolar for the last like at least 12 years. I only had one case of mania when in 2009 or 2010. And I thought that maybe I wasn't actually bipolar, so I was easing off the lithium and the risperidone a little bit since December. So, and I realized it was a big mistake after a little while, but it wasn't obvious it was a mistake because the psychiatrist wasn't noticing anything funny in like April when I went to a psychiatrist again. And I know that I did take risperidone again on, I think it was April 19th when I made a video on YouTube. Showing that I can play the violin again easily and not have delusion.
Can we get
Was
a
it
link to that?
monetized, Stephen? How many views did you get? I'm wondering.
Where's that link? Stephen, fessing up. He's being honest. I like that. 12 years of struggles, though. That is some serious. Nah, look at that. The nurse is here. Nurse.
Hey, nurse.
You may need to talk to
Right.
Stephen. Stephen needs to stay on his meds.
I'm glad you're here
100
because Trina, Stephen might need you. at some
Absolutely, nurse.
FYI, good to see you.
He said nothing funny was going
Yes.
on.
They were clouding my mind. But the medication, I was taking the Depakote and the risperidone that the treatment facility put me on, but it wasn't quite enough to make the main delusion that was in the way with Nicole. It was giving everybody a hard time. But I needed to go to the treatment facility to get about double the dose, and I have been taking it.
Oof. Yeah,
the
Stephen.
pills they've been giving me.
Mhm.
job,
That's your
Steve.
medication.
Yeah, I took my morning dose. Yeah.
Okay.
I got my evening dose. I'm
Those
gonna
are like
take,
birth control pills.
and it is making the main delusion to go away. That made me think that a person called Rachel from my college days was helping me out for things. Because the main issue with mania is it makes things go much easier in your life. I was losing a lot of weight. I was playing environment much easier, and I thought things were going fine. And I went to my psychiatry appointment. No red flags were getting shown to the psychiatrist, and they didn't think anything much was going wrong. Because I did go to psychiatrist on June 14th, and they didn't think anything was much amiss. But ended up on June 15th that my delusion got control of me again, and things went pretty wrong because I thought.
Excuse me for just a moment.
Well, great.
Hang on.
Creed's gonna tell us he doesn't look like Matt Walsh. You found the video?
I found his page. Yeah,
Holy
16 subs.
He's like a professional violin player.
Yeah. I don't dare play much of that, but all right. So he plays the violin. He's not blue, anyways. That's
How many
not
subs has he got? That was the
good.
question.
16.
Well, he deserves more because he's
60 videos.
very talented. Man, I hate to see this. I'm kind of brokenhearted now because obviously he was like a productive member of society,
Mm-hmm.
and now he has slipped into the grips of mental health issues.
For
Ugh,
real.
that's
Damn,
terrible.
you gotta give me a little bit of credit on that. I found that pretty damn fast.
Yeah, you typed in his name. Good job, man.
I did good.
Detective.
I did good today. I
Forensics.
did good. Thank you.
Rachel was
Forensics.
doing things again when she obviously wasn't doing anything at all. It was just my delusion in my head. And I ended up in the treatment facility for 3 weeks, gaining and I was taking this Depakote and the risperidone before the treatment facility, but at the treatment facility, they just basically doubled it. So the delusion right now is pretty much gone, and I'm not under control of it.
Brandon, I'm not sure if you heard the part that the Karen was talking about where he allegedly followed a 15-year-old home and then told the dad that he was in love with her
And wasn't leaving until there was a sign from God.
Um,
So, I mean, I don't know how much of a threat he is, but I could see
Right.
people considering him one.
yeah, but if he's off his meds, though, I
That's
would
real
imagine.
bad.
Yeah, if you're on, I'm not super familiar with all of them that he just mentioned, but I know they're pretty heavy hitters, if I'm not mistaken. So I would imagine if he's off of that cocktail mix of what he's taken at all, that could throw it off enough to do weird stuff like Nicole said that he was doing. So I could see, and he's admitting that for very long he kind of didn't want to admit about his bipolar issues.
12-year struggle, and he's talking about the mania. And by the way, this is a picture of me at WrestleMania.
That's so random, but thank you for sharing.
As far as I can tell.
Well, you certainly do seem to be a lot better today than when we were talking 2 weeks ago. So it's good to hear that treatment and medication seem to be making things better for you.
Thanks a lot.
All right. And my question for you, Mr. Levenger, is are you still living in the same place, in the same neighborhood where Miss Grant lives?
Yes.
Only a stone's throw away.
Do you have any reason you need to go onto Miss Grant's property or look in her windows?
Never.
All right, and Mr. Joel Levenger, I know you've been listening here and helping your brother. Is there anything that he's missed that you think that I need to know before I decide?
Just that he's been having a hard time. My mom's been in the hospital in Seattle since before he went home. I think he had been asking her for some help and reaching out because he didn't really understand what was going on. And then she called me and Saturday and said, hey, can you call into a meeting on Monday? So if he should have had a lawyer, I'm not sure about these proceedings, but I think he was reaching out, trying to ask my mom for one, and she wasn't getting one for him. So other than that, I think, what he was saying was pretty accurate. He's obviously under some significant mental delusions he was acting on. To my mind, he's been a lot better. We were trying to get him help. Psychiatrists he was seeing were saying that he was fine. He obviously wasn't, but he's doing a lot better right now. And I don't know that if he's under his delusions, if any sort of outside directive would have made it much of a difference anyways. But yeah.
Real quick, Creed, before he makes a decision, I know a lot of people, it's a terrible situation, but absolutely. He's also at a point where he's living by himself. Mom is in the hospital. He's living all alone. So, I mean, he must be able to take care of himself and things like that. So it's not at like that point, but it's a great indication that you should, like Lambo said, never come off your meds ever. That's the terrible thing to do. And it is tough. We know DTF, Dave the Flav, a guy who's been a part of our lives for
a lot of years,
a very, very long time. He was a lot like Steven here. He was, going through life, normal guy. And then boom, one day he started hearing these voices and things. And from then on, he's the guy we know now. So it's not like this something that Steven's dealt with his entire life. It's just the last 12 years that have really got him to this unfortunate place.
And it's true. Listen, the dude may have done some creepy things allegedly throughout when he's unmedicated or manic.
Unfortunately, yeah, they don't know what he's capable of when he's off his meds, and that's unfortunate.
No, it is, and that's sad. It's a hell of a way to live. Good that Joel's stepping up for him. I agree with KCC. I think that. I mean, he didn't say a whole lot, but he enough precise and to the point to at least say that he cares. And he's got a great looking Instapot.
All right. After hearing from both of you and reviewing the materials that you filed, I am going to grant the anti-harassment order here. I mean, Ms. Grant has clearly shown that there's been repeated behavior, that it was a course of conduct directed at her, that it caused her substantial emotional distress. And I think that under the circumstances as she describes them, any reasonable person would feel emotional distress by the actions that Mr. Levenger took. And I think we all know, and we're acknowledging that Mr. Levenger struggles with some mental health issues, and that he's in the intervening time, he's been given some help and some medications, and currently things are a lot better for him. But I think it's clearly best for everybody if Mr. Levenger just doesn't go over there, doesn't go peek in Miss Grant's windows or look through her windows or knock on her door. That kind of thing could certainly, upset any reasonable person. So I'm confident, though, now, Mr. Levenger, that given the frame of mind that you're in, that it's a whole lot less likely that you would do this. But if you find yourself struggling, I'd urge you to reach out for help wherever you get your help. So I will enter this order, and this order will continue for the next year until July 24th of 2024.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
I know you're the third judge that I've seen for this, and each time they asked me, like, how many feet for, so one concern that I have is, so the main house is off of 8th Avenue and Decatur, right? So I live in the alley off of 8th and Decatur. So I have to drive past Stephen's house all the time to access businesses and things like that. Is that, because they said, how far is his house from your house? So I said, I don't know, across the street, what, 50 feet, 75 feet, for him to access the main house from my house. So is that an issue that I have, what I mean, as far as like proximity?
Well, that's really for him to worry about. You are not restricted in, going past his residence or going out, whichever way you want.
No,
Okay.
The restrictions pertain to Mr. Levenger and his, knowing actions toward you or your property or your child.
Okay.
This order does not restrict Mr. Levenger from his home or access to his home, and I'll make that clear.
Mhm.
Now, there's been a couple of
I didn't want to mention it. This is such a serious time, but
right. Yes, it's
I noticed.
that's Nicole. Yeah, almost like what I mean, for the judge to have to say, I'm not going to restrict him from his own residence. Basically, is that
you don't have to watch out for him; he's got to watch out for you.
Right.
However, I'm going to put the same restrictions here that Judge Meyer did, which restrict you from going within 25 feet of her property. Now that means the property, not the front door. That means the property where she resides. So just don't do it. Stay away from her place.
So just to ask, like, he could maybe be on the other side of the street if he's walking on the sidewalk, but not.
Yeah, just
their
keep
side of the
that
street
25 feet and we're fine.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, and we've been doing the same. Don't walk on his side of the street. If we were going to the park, we've been walking on the opposite side of the street and not going by the house. So we've been respecting that property boundary as well.
You understand that, Stephen?
Yes.
Stay on the near sidewalk and maybe not go that direction.
Right.
Go towards the mall, not towards the downtown, if at all possible.
The mall. Yeah.
All
I
right,
guess
I'm
Stephen's hanging out
signing
at the
the
mall.
order. It's really got the same terms and conditions as the temporary order. It's just going to be in effect for the next year.
And so how will we receive that, Your Honor? Will Stephen and I both receive a copy via email? Or will that...
the court clerk's going to file it now, and it'll be going out later today by email to both of you.
Okay.
Yeah, Stephen, good luck.
Thank you both. Thank you all.
I really appreciate the time today. Thank you.
His first court appearance, he was driving. He had stopped.
Have a great rest of your day.
So, I mean, he's fully functioning.
He's a driver.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was
All
sitting
right.
behind the wheel.
So
What do you think about that, Frida?
that scares the shit out of me, DTF.
Yeah, you too.
You as well.
See you later, Stephen. Take care.
Bye, Stephen. It's your best.
Excuse me.
Nothing but the best for you, bud.
Stephen, you can
All right, the next
turn it off
the
now.
next case with both parties present and a temporary order having been granted is Heather Spradlin versus Samuel Kirkley.
This is Dave Flav.
All right.
Whoa,
and,
she's somebody-
let's see, Miss Spradlin, good morning.
Crazy hair in courtroom. Was Head PE playing there earlier?
And
Why,
Mr.
I have a hat
Kirkley, I
like
see you're still signed in. Can you turn on your microphone and camera?
Hey, nice chest, bro.
Thank you. And this is
I like
case
her braid. I like her braid.
23-212. This is Miss Spradlin's petition for anti-harassment order against
Go
Mr.
away,
Kirkley.
bar.
Here it is.
I'll have both of you raise your right hands, please.
Bisexual
And
Dave.
do you
yes,
both
I
swear
love
that
being
the
all over
testimony
the-
that you give in this case will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, Your Honor.
Stephen loves
You.
to read.
Okay, Miss Spradlin, you get to go first. Go right ahead.
Samuel.
Thank you. I received a call on June 28th, I believe, from Olympia Police Department stating that they had had a patient they believe was either a tenant or a previous tenant of mine that had admitted themselves to the psych ward, saying that they had suicidal and homicidal ideology to stab and harm me, specifically the female property manager at Cedar Point Apartments. I'm the only employee on site.
Oh boy.
I didn't really know how to respond at the time. I asked if a restraining order had been put in place. They said no, since Mr. Kirkley had volunteered himself there for services, that no action was being taken, and that it was my responsibility to file a request for a protection order. So I filed a protection order.
So the relationship is that Mr. Kirkley is someone who used to live in the apartments that you run?
Correct. And he had moved back out in March.
Okay, not currently living there though.
No.
All right. And I read all of this in your petition. And I don't believe I had any additional questions based on what you wrote or now what you've said. So is there anything else that you feel that I need to know before I hear from Mr. Kirkley?
There'll be a poll.
Just that my concern comes from it escalating. I had sent a letter back out in October just asking tenants to clean up the front porches of their apartments and remove all tripping hazards. And then we had a property inspection by our insurance in December, received reports in January, and just kind of strange things have been happening since then. I've heard from various tenants who wouldn't provide written statements, that he said that he's out to get me, take me down, ruin me. Which, I mean, I've been doing this for 10 years, so I've heard a lot of things. And then for it to escalate to this point is where I'm like, okay, this is becoming very unpredictable. I do hope that he's getting help and is in a healthy place. And so I just feeling anxious enough to request this.
Wow, that cracked him up. Look at him.
All right, I understand. All right, Mr. Kirkley, would you like to tell me your side of it?
Happens.
So on the 28th, I was cleaning my current apartment and my hand went through the shower wall, which triggered the same thing that happened in the apartment.
His hand?
Hold on.
Cedar Point.
His hand went through the shower wall?
He was cleaning and his hand went through the shower wall. Now, that's one of two things, Creed. Either one, that's one of the shoddiest walls I've ever heard of. Or
Right.
this man is living out the storyline of the Incredible Hulk, whereas he hurts his hand and he just gets crazy and starts busting walls and stuff.
Yes.
One of the two.
just
No other
cleaning.
possibilities.
I was just cleaning, just went right through.
Apartments, and I was in a depressive state, but then the depression also for about 5 minutes added pure rage and anger.
See?
And when the rage and anger, I really realized that it was valid but not reasonable. That's one of the reasons I checked myself in, because I don't believe in violence. I have been the victim of domestic violence myself.
Oh, no. That's terrible.
And with regards to the anger with Heather is, yes, I'm still angry that she does not do her job. It took me months and months and months to get moved apartments because my apartment was rotting. I had pictures. The opposite side of the wall was about 6 foot by 8 foot of mold. She kept telling me was not there. She knew that I had like the thing on my front porch. Once I talked to her, I got rid of everything except for the thing for my cat, which was an ADA cat, which she helped me do the paperwork so I could have the ADA cat. And I talked to CMAR because they knew how upset I was that this even went further, because
Chris?
I've been
What's
going
up,
there
Chris?
for 5 years and I've never been angry homicidal. It's just not who I've
Jacobson?
been.
What a name.
And when I was mad, I was just frustrated at people who don't do their jobs. The apartment complex is falling apart. I fell through the railing, and then her and her dad went around and proceeded to tell other tenants that I didn't, that I was lying. With this restraining order, she's telling everybody who somehow an ex-boyfriend found out I was in the hospital from co-workers at Amazon because she's friends with Brandon and Angela.
Brandon
So now
and Angela.
my mental health issues and struggles that I'm trying to get help for is spreading around town, and I had no idea how.
Yeah. So at this time, Creed just Creed framed at one of the worst possible moments ever in the history of the show. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the sex has been ruined by Creed frames. Just imagine underneath those blocks, there's some beautiful man-on-man love. Which scares the shit out of Samuel, by the way. Scares him good. Real good.
What a great time for a Creed frame. Now,
Perfect. I like the censorship on Creed's side of things.
I just went black and never thought I'd come back.
I mean, right at the moment
it was
when things were about
precise.
to really bust loose.
It was precise.
Didn't like it.
Anybody would know. So she tried.
Back that up. It's even worse now than it was a second ago. You're even Creed framed at the moment.
Well, I'll give that little thing up there just a second. We'll take this moment to tell you about we got a chase today, Florida Friday, 405 East.
Yeah, a lot of exciting stuff there. The Wild Woman version of the week continues on. We got some more Wild Womans from Florida. Some amazing pit action, if you know what I mean. And look at the judge's face. I don't know who's more upset about this, Samuel or the judge, but Heather up there, stone faced.
Yeah, just stone.
She is just taking it in. She's just really enjoying it.
And one funny thing about the blurs, that size is needed.
Yeah.
With everything that's going on there.
I mean, it's quite substantial.
I can see why you'd say that, because that was just perfect timing, but no.
That's what it says, yes, sir.
Let's try it again. How's that look? Real
much better.
I agree, guys in the truck.
So
no,
they leave.
No.
And it's a very long time before they ever come back. They delete that immediately.
Yeah.
The stuff that's going on, it's constantly screaming, "I'm Glenn Quagmire," I believe. I'm Glenn Quagmire. I'm Glenn Quagmire.
And there's lots of things going on the screen. Lots of action.
Tons of action. I think there was even something up there from Al Qaeda. I'm not really sure. But again, you see this concern on the men's faces, not Heather. Heather, it's not bothering her at all.
She's not fazed by it at all. And the look of disgust when I saw that. Remember, I remember when it happened too. Your face was.
I mean, it's nothing you want to see. I'm promising you. You're missing nothing.
Otherwise, we'd share it. I promise you, it's not. It's very.
Ooh, buddy.
Very.
Those two guys that come in, by the way, they had nothing to do with. I think they were fake people.
Yeah. So you think that like they run that for just a few minutes or whatever before they get into the.
Because once they had come in and they were sitting there for a second.
Level red.
Then they all of a sudden, because it took over more than one space. It took over 3 spaces.
April.
So I don't know. It was not good. It was something I would never want to see again.
Sam's Quam tricking.
Giggity. Oh boy. But yeah, that's we're gonna leave on a high note.
And her face is.
Oh yeah, she's like.
I think we caught Samuel just as he was getting ready to go.
Because he starts panicking. If you notice him, he starts panicking. Rewind it one more time so we can see it from the inception on. There we go. Just from right there. It's perfect.
Yeah. So again, we think that they run these
right
just to kind of see if you can get in without anybody noticing. Because it does. It looks like people that are just jumping on and ready to
Yeah.
have some court.
Now, my mental health issues and struggles that I'm trying
Watch
to get
Samuel
help
freak
for
out.
is spreading around town, and I had no idea how the hell anybody would know this. So she tried.
See, he thinks that's his computer. He's like, oh my God, how did
Oh, I see that.
how did
Oh,
this
that's
happen?
right.
Oh my God,
He's
I
like-
didn't do this. He thinks it's his fault.
Why would he think that's his fault? You're right. He does, though. That's scary.
And Heather, she just enjoys it. We know what her kink is.
Well, first of all, Doug, you're not at a members only at the moment. It's just a normal live. Second of all, we would lose all of our channels and probably be arrested if we played that for you, whether it was behind a paywall or not.
I mean,
Telling you, it is.
I will say this, Doug. I'll tell you, these men, very gifted.
Endowed.
Well, I don't think that word is even good enough.
Now, I will tell you this, that I don't know how it fit. That's one of them that I'll never forget seeing. What?
No exaggeration. And it was going somewhere.
I'm telling you, it's very disturbing. If it was any less disturbing, then we would at least, the Discord. Or something.
It almost looked like, I don't know, like a baby was coming out arm first out of this man. A very big arm baby.
Oh, Doug, you think I was being rude about that? Okay.
Doug.
Okay, Doug.
Doug, calm down, Doug.
Doug, it's Friday.
Doug, it's all right. I promise.
I'll go back. Remember that one time, Doug, when you kind of went a little overboard because you were off your meds and I just ignored you for about 2 weeks? We'll do that again if you'd like.
Progress.
Oh, yeah. That's progress, baby.
Baby, that's progress, baby.
By the way, April on the caboose.
Right where she should be.
What a weird ass day.
It's going to be a weird Friday today. Doug. I never forget. The Soul Glow Express. Thank you to Tiny Piggy, Carol. How do you say Janetta?
Janetta? Jana?
Enema. Michael, thank you. MB, Gary, Iowa, the Critter Wrangler, Toby, Amy P, who apparently is Creed superfan now. Amazon Girl with the Gift of Love, Karen G, Shelly, Kiernoth, Stephanie, Tiny Piggy again, and thank you. And Chuck, you're right on top.
Don't forget, if you're checking out the ass of the caboose.
April.
On the caboose. Thank you. Thank you. You guys take care of yourselves. Today's Friday. Oof, but it sure feels like a Monday. Stay safe. Stay hard. Like the guys in the video that we blocked out. Stay tuned because, anything can happen. It's a stressful day. See you back here for Chases. Water Friday. Bye now. Again, me at Mania. Not having mania, but